Hello, my peaceful and profitable entrepreneurs. Happy Wednesday. Happy Masterclass Day. I am so excited to share this one with you. It is near and dear to my heart. Today we are talking about how I made $239K in the past year with a small audience, and more importantly, how you can too. So we will dive into that in just a minute. But first, if you're hopping on, please say hello, ask your questions, leave your comments. How's your week going? I know if you're like me, you have kids out of school all next week. This Friday they have a half day. It's kind of bananas right now. My husband's birthday is tomorrow, which is very exciting, but there's a lot of stuff around that. We are going to go to Columbia. So we're going to drive 2 hours from Charleston up to Columbia to see John Mulaney. Really excited. He's a comedian. I've loved him for years, but so excited that we get to do that. But we're going to drive back Thursday night, probably be home around midnight, which is way past my normal bedtime. So just a lot of fun things going on. We're coordinating with my dad and my mother-in-law, picking up the girls, getting them to gymnastics, getting them dinner, like all that stuff. So there's just a lot going on. Then Friday we're doing caramel chocolate kudzu cake from Kudzu Bakery. So that's really fun. If y'all know Kudzu Bakery, it's the best. So that's his present for me, is a cake from Kudzu Bakery. So that's what we've going on. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jordan Ilderton. I own Ilderton Bookkeeping and Coaching. So for the past almost 8 years, I've supported clients behind the scenes with the back-end financials of every size and stage of business that there is. And I've seen not only what goes into building a business, but the strategies that create building a profitable business. So I love supporting my clients to use the data at their fingertips so that they can book clients with ease, know what is working, have things run on repeat like a well-oiled machine. I own my own multi-six-figure business. We are on month 33 of consecutive 10K plus months. So we typically run around 20K a month. I do not work full-time. I have 3 kids. I will work a half day on Friday and then not really working much next week. So I very much have built my business to suit my life that I want to lead, and just supporting clients. And just realized there's my daughter's lap desk in the background. So we're just gonna scoot over a little bit, but it's fine. So that is who I am. If you're new, welcome. I go live every week here in the group. I do a masterclass every other month. So that means there's a playbook to go with this. So if you haven't gotten it already, I'll be sure to put the link below. You can still grab that. We have a lot to cover today. I have a ton of notes. This is just something I'm very passionate about. So we have a lot to go over. I want to be mindful of time. I keep these to about 45 minutes. So there's some bonus pieces at the end of the playbook that if I don't get to those, you have them in the playbook, and they are yours to keep. So again, if you're catching now, if you're catching the replay, please ask your questions. Feel free to hit reply to any of the emails if you have questions, because I love hearing from y'all and want this to be supportive for you. So that is what we're talking about today. How I made $239K with a small audience. If you join live or catch the replay, you're entered to win a free coaching session with me. That is what I like to do with the master classes, because it does involve you signing up and giving your email. And just as a special thank you, I like to offer a little more high ticket thank you. So someone will be entered to win a free coaching session with me. So that's it for housekeeping stuff, I think. Let's get started. So I created this master class because I used to look up to my mentors who made really great money, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month, and they had thousands and thousands of followers. And I thought for a long time that that was what I needed. If you go to my Instagram account, Ilderton Bookkeeping and Coaching, so it's Ilderton_bookkeeping_coaching. If you go really far back to 2021, you'll see I did reels every day for 6 months. I went all in, and it literally didn't do shit for even my audience growth, but more importantly, the clients that I was booking. I don't think I booked any clients from someone who saw me on a reel. I even had to block a lot of people because it would be these random weird men who weren't even business owners who started following me. So it didn't check any of the boxes, and it was a time suck for me. And for a little while it was creative, and then it just wasn't. But that is why I want to talk about this, because when I stopped focusing on growing my audience and started focusing on the person in front of me and actually building relationships to convert to clients, that's when things popped. That's when I went from 10K a month to 13K a month to 15 to 18 to 20. That is what made the difference. And so that is what I'm sharing with you today. We will walk through my framework of mindset, strategy, organize, implement. So we'll look at it from all these different pieces, but this is a very straightforward, like easy for you to take and use in your own business. I really want to make this simple and break it down. So that's what we're talking about today. I kind of have results that just don't make sense. Most coaches that have my following don't make the money I do. Like, you could look at any of my posts and people probably feel bad for me. They're probably like, oh, Jordan, nobody liked your post. But it's like, I don't care because I'm fully booked. I make 20K recurring revenue a month. Like, I don't give a shit if people are liking it or not. I know that the posts that people like and that gets more, kind of attention are not the posts that people want to hire me with. So we want to be very intentional about that. So what we're talking about today is the mindset and strategy that you can use so that you can make money without, having to have a big audience. So I really want to first put this in context. Like, I always like to give context about my results and what I'm doing. So when I say, I made 239K, hi Jenna, thank you so much for joining. Be sure to ask your questions. We're just getting started. But I wanted to give people context of, okay, 239K in the past year. What does that look like? That looks like October 2022 to October 2023. So I'm not talking about year-to-date November 2023. I'm talking about a full year, October to October. So I want to be sure that I'm clarifying with that. I took the month of July off, so that month was kind of a wash. So it was basically 11 months of revenue, but still wanted to give context and give the whole picture. So I also offer a mid and high ticket offer. So if you offer a $37 product and that is your main core offer, yes, you are probably going to need a big audience. Like, that's just the truth. That's just math. Most of my clients, all of my clients have a mid and high ticket offer. If they sell products, they offer a very high ticket product. So that is what we were talking about today. Yes, you can make really great money with a small audience. You do need a higher ticket offer. And I know that high ticket is relative. A lot of coaches that have my background and my experience charge double what I do. So it's just all kind of relative, but that's important to say first and foremost. You do need to have, not a $37 product. So that's important to speak to. We'll also talk about what my revenue looks like. Most of it is one-to-one. I offer high ticket VIP coaching, so that is the bulk of my revenue. We also have a bookkeeping arm. I started 8 years ago as a bookkeeper, so that is very much a piece of our revenue every month. Then I have a couple intensives a month, and then I also offer, part of my investment is 10% of new revenue from working with me, so that is another stream of revenue, but I didn't include it in that 239K number just because it's not like revenue that is like accountable every month. Like, it literally depends on my clients making more money. So that felt important not to include in this number. So that is the context for what 239K looks like, because I want to always be like, give the full story and all of that. So we'll jump into why this is important. So being intentional, because otherwise the online space will give you their intention. Like, you can go down a rabbit hole trying to get all the trending audio, but what's the point if it's not booking clients? Like, I literally talked to a business owner the other day who was paying money to have trending audio sent to her that she wasn't using. And when we dove into the past, 5 clients that she booked, none of them were from Instagram. So not only was she not using the trending audio, but it didn't even make sense because that's not where her clients came from. So that is why I think it's so important to get intentional, because there's so much messaging out there that growing your audience is the thing. And yes, we do need to keep growing our audience. We can't constantly be losing followers. That just doesn't work. But, if you think about how many people you need in your container or your coaching program or whatever you offer, if you offer something high ticket, you probably don't have bukus of space to just give to everyone. So think about how many you need to actually get full. So I couldn't find the study before this, but there was a study out there that I read about one time, and it was basically these people did an experiment and they did one of those follow trains. So they did a follow train where they got a ton of people on their list and a ton of people following them. And what it really showed them was that over time, the amount of engagement was super low, the email clicks were super low, people weren't actually engaging, people were not buying. So it literally didn't serve them at all. So I've seen people post online, they get so excited, I have this many followers or this many followers. And some people I know locally, I see them promoting the number of followers, but I know just because I know them that they are struggling. Like just because they have 1,000 or 20,000 or however many followers, like their business isn't necessarily doing well because of it. And I just think it really makes me sad that that is what they're focused on, and that's what they think is what's going to grow their business, when it's definitely not. So that's why this is so important for me to bring to you, because I know that if this is possible for me, it is possible for you too, and I want to share that. So we are going to dive in. So first is the mindset piece. And this is something I want you to take in all areas of your business, but having the mindset that business is a game and I know how to play it. Like when you take that mindset, everything gets so much easier. It's changed my life. Like I feel like as a business owner, I'm like, this is a game and I know how to play it. I even use that with like parenting or like other places, just to be like, this is just a game I get to play. And yes, I take my business seriously. I take my clients' businesses so seriously. I take the coaching and the work and the support that I do super seriously. And it's a game and I'm playing it. So that's the lens I want you to take and look through, not make yourself wrong and not see, that you've been doing it wrong this whole time or you've wasted time and money on these other things, but literally just see like, okay, this is a game and I'm going to learn and figure out how to play it. So we've talked about it's a lie. You don't need tons of followers. You're chasing the wrong thing and you're wasting money if you're just trying to get followers. This is how the online space tricks you. They make you think it's about all the followers you have, but let's just start with the facts. You don't need 250,000 followers to make $250,000. Again, you do need a higher ticket offer, not the $37 product, but you do need something higher ticket if you're going to have a smaller audience. That's a whole another conversation for another day. But again, want to speak to that. And the reason that the online space wants you to grow your audience is because that's what sells. That will have you chasing like 50 different strategies to grow your audience, because there are so many things you could be doing, but that is not what you need to focus on if you're trying to book clients. Let's see. So just think about how many people you need to be full. Like what if you were just busting at the seams with clients? Like what does that number look like? And then you could probably fill that with the number of people you have following you. So I typically have 10 one-to-one coaching spots available. I'm full, so I'm not opening another one until January, but I can look at my audience of 500 and say like, yeah, I can stay full like so many times over with just the people in my audience. And granted, some of those people are like my husband and my in-laws that are following me that would never actually be clients. But even then it would be like, okay, say that's 100 people that I know. 400 people, I have 10 spots, but I only open one every 6 months. So like that literally, it doesn't even matter that I have 400 people following me. So that is how I want you to think about this, and seeing it as a game of like, I have this capacity, I have this many spots, I have this number. That's what I'm focused on. The number over here in my Facebook group or the number over here on Instagram followers, like that's not really the point. It's really seeing like, what do I have? What's my capacity to be full? And granted, that can change later on. Maybe you stack another offer or you hire more support, but just looking at it like, okay, right now, what does that look like? Like that's the place I want you to start with. So again, this is where I'm talking about like, ignore the Facebook follow chains. I'm in some Facebook groups. I see these all the time of like, let's follow each other and support each other. And like, I am all about supporting each other, but that doesn't do jack shit for your clients, for your revenue. Like if someone is never going to buy from you, it doesn't matter if they ever follow you. It's actually probably hurting you. It's hurting your algorithm stuff. It's hurting your email stuff, because you don't want people in your audience that aren't engaging, that aren't ever looking at your stuff, that aren't doing anything. It hurts you more. And so just ignore those follow chains. You don't need to go for a bigger audience. So that is my question for you right now. Do you actually need to grow your audience, or do you actually just need to better connect with your audience that you do have? So there's journal prompts in the playbook. So again, make sure you have the playbook. So the journal prompts will just really help you have clarity around your offer, the people that you actually need, and the problem that you need to solve. I'm all about solving the right problem, closing the right gap. So that's it for the mindset piece. Ooh, this is good. This is my throat coat stuff. I love it. So that's it for the mindset piece. Now we're going to move into strategy. But again, let me know if you have questions as we're going along. I know we have people hopping on catching the replay, so I want this to be super supportive for you. So if you have anything about your business, please let me know. So let's talk about, if strategy. Hi, Jenna. I need to access the playbook. Yes, I'll put the link below. It's not too late. And then also, if you just look through the Facebook group, we've posted about it. So there should be the link there too if you just wanted to get it right now. But otherwise at the end afterwards. I love the throat coat too. It's delicious. I put some lemon water in it. It's just good. I'll have another sip. And I'm trying to speak more of my diaphragm. So typically when I'm on these, I speak from my throat up here and I get really froggy sounding. So now I'm trying to use my diaphragm like I learned in chorus in 6th grade. So trying to change that a little bit. Let's talk about strategy. There are 4 strategies we're going to talk about. So these are good. And I'm going to dive into a little on each one. Let me know if you have questions or how this would look specifically in your business. So we'll start with the first piece to make really good money with a small audience, and that is focusing on one core offer. And I know as a business owner, as a creative, that is hard to hear. We want to always be creating something new, or we have so many ideas of an ebook or this new offer, or just name it. I have clients who will literally message me once a week about something that they thought of. And it's not we're never going to do it, but I'm always coming back to what are we doing right now? So my goal with all of my clients and what I invite you to do is to have one thing that you are promoting and that all roads point to. So whether it's a free call, a free download, a free webinar, an audit, just sell your face off with that one thing, especially when it's free, because anything we're gonna have to sell our face on, but especially something free, getting someone to put their email in or take that next step, we need to sell the shit out of it, shout it from the rooftops, talk about why it's the best thing, why they need it, and really sell that to even think about them hiring us or paying us. Because if we can't sell them on something free, it's going to be really hard to get them into a paid container and for them to see the value of paying you. So that is what I want you to do first. Build momentum by keeping your focus on the first step of your sales process. The easy first step someone can take. Let this build momentum and be a well-oiled machine. So if you're not sure what that looks like for you, feel free to ask questions. I'll drop a link later for a free call. I have an intensive opening up in December. This is the perfect thing. If you don't know what your kind of offer suite looks like or what the client journey looks like, this is a great place to just get really clear on that and what that first thing is that you're selling, because that is where your messaging is going. That's what all roads point to, this one thing, so that you're not okay, 1 week I'm offering this and this week I'm offering this, and it just doesn't give your potential customer time to first of all probably see it enough, because they need to see it a certain amount of times before it's oh yeah, I need to do that. And then it just needs to get in their head and see the value of it. And literally it just takes a strategy 3 to 6 months to build momentum. So we want to go all in and be consistent on one thing. You're selling in your stories about it. You are, every post that has a next step for someone has a call to action. It is this thing. So again, book a free call. We can talk about this if you just have no idea what that is. So then the second strategy to really book clients, make good money with a small audience, is to be consistent. So this just kind of goes off of that first piece, but this ties in with the free call I have. I have a 10K content strategy audit call. And so I'm constantly supporting people to create a consistent plan, because the goal is to not show up on social media every single day. The goal is to show up on a consistent basis. So show up and, have something that you're putting out there so people know hey, she always shows up. Hey, I always get tons of value from her. Hey, I know she's there. I get to know, like, and trust her. That's what builds momentum. So if you think about now this time of year with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you need to have been selling and showing up all year long, because that is going to propel your results this time of year. I don't really do much Black Friday shopping, but there are a couple businesses that I love because I know them. And so when I see that they offer something, I am buying it. I'm ready for it. It's not hey, here's this new kids clothing company I've never heard of. Let me go down a rabbit hole with my research trying to figure out if I want to buy from them. No. So if you really want to get results, you need to be consistent. And that means showing up, whatever that looks like for you. I show up 7 days a week because I have content literally coming out of my ears. I have so many ideas. I'm on client calls all day. Like, I have so much to share. But if that just is not realistic for you, I also hire support to help me post it. They schedule it. I write it and they get it out there. So that may look different for you, and that is totally fine. But let's figure out what your consistent schedule is, what you're always talking about. And I know I hear this a lot with messaging. People are like, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly the point. That's what you want. And we're so lucky that we get to talk about what we want to all the time, over and over. I think it is just such a blessing. So don't let that deter you. If you're like, I'm talking about the same thing constantly, like, we are pretty basic humans. Our brains need to hear something many times for it to actually sink in, or from different lenses or different examples. So please be sure that that doesn't deter you from being consistent. Because when they see you show up constantly and consistently, they know that they can trust you. They know that they'll get value from you. And that is so important. So under this one in the playbook, there is a journal prompt around this. So be sure to answer that. Again, if you have questions about what that would look like in your business, please reach out. My door is always open. Let me know if y'all have questions, those of you who are joining live. So the third strategy to really, make 239K with less than 500 followers is to speak your mind. So do not talk about what everyone else is talking about unless it lights you up and that feels aligned. So that is so important to say. Like, we need to show ourselves as a thought leader. We need to speak to what maybe we don't like, speak to what's possible. This is where a lot of my clients and people I have calls with get uncomfortable because they're afraid of driving away potential customers. But we need to attract best fit clients, and we need to repel people who are not best fit clients. So full permission to have a post that maybe like someone, it rubs them the wrong way, or they, don't understand, and maybe they're not your people, and that's totally fine. I think it's so much more important. Like, I would rather have a small audience of people who like what I'm talking about rather than people who they're indifferent or they don't care. Like, whenever someone unsubscribes from my newsletter, I'm just like, thank you. Like, if you don't want to be here, I don't want you here either. Like, so thank you for just like opting out. And I would rather be that person that like is, like, hey, this is what I stand for and this is not what I stand for, instead of just being nothing to everyone, or whatever that saying goes. And the other side of this is, don't just be different for the sake of being different. Because I think people can just see that either way. Like, you're either talking about the same stuff that everyone else is talking about, or you're just totally going out and being like totally, I don't know, not obnoxious, but you're just being so different just for the sake of being different. And there's really just like that middle ground of like, who are you? What do you believe? What do you preach? What do you see as being something in the industry that you want to speak against? Like, really let that guide you in this, because it's just so powerful. And it's just going to help, like, whatever that first piece of your sales process in, it'll weed out so many people that aren't the best fit. It would waste both of your time. That's what we want. Again, we don't want to be like losing people by the like hundreds, but it's totally fine if someone is not for you, because that just means you are putting it out there to attract the people who are for you and what you stand for. So for me personally, I'm one of the few coaches that talks about using data and using the back end of your business to really tell you what's working. So I wouldn't get on one-to-one calls or even my free calls and not have this as kind of like a piece of it. Because if someone expects me to just talk mindset 100% of the time, we're just not a good fit. I am very much into strategy, using the data, using your own business to tell you what works. So if you just want me to be like, yes, just visualize what you want, just say a bunch of affirmations, do some journaling, like, yes, and you've got to do some implementation on things. You need to look and see what's working. Like, this is just part of the conversation I'm always having with clients. So I want to attract people who like that. I also have a client that just had gangbuster sales for a few years, and then recently there was just more competition that crept up into her space, and she sees a lot of sleazy stuff out there. And so part of our work with her messaging was just speaking to what she does stand for, because we didn't want to speak to like throwing anyone under the bus, or these people are doing this and we do this and putting ourselves on a pedestal. Like, it's not that at all. But we were just getting really clear on who she is, what she stands for, what people can expect from them, the type of service they can expect, the type of follow-up they can expect, the type of quality control stuff. So it was all just like really like setting the bar high of here's where we are, here's our expectations, here's our standards, and really showing that as opposed to like putting someone else down. So that's just a really great piece to talk about in your content, and really make sure you weave through everything is maybe calling out things in your industry that you don't agree with, or really using it as the opportunity to educate people on what you're passionate about and what you see. Like, I love that data is like making this kind of like I've been talking about it for 8 years, but now I feel like it's like, okay, it's a thing. It's really a thing. Like, it doesn't have to just be all mindset and feminine energy. It doesn't have to be all data and numbers and masculine stuff. Like, it gets to live in the middle, and gets to each supports each side of each other. So that is what I'm really excited about and passionate. So let this be, a call to you. There's a journal prompt around this, so you can really kind of get clear on your business and who you are speaking to, and being okay with maybe it's not the greatest fit for everyone out there, but you're a great fit for, the handful of people that you have space to support. So that is it for that third one. Let me know if y'all have questions. I know we have some more people jumping on, so be sure to say hi, ask your questions. So the fourth strategy we're talking about with getting fully booked, making consistent 10, 15, 20K months with a small audience, is really to speak to the results. So this is something I know we can eye roll because we've heard it so much, but it's really about not just giving the details of your container, but giving the results and giving people what is possible. So I've got a bunch of little examples that I'm going to give you, but really think about, what are your potential clients' burning desires? What are they thinking about, before they go to bed at night, or when they wake up in the morning, or when they're complaining to their husband or their best friend? Like, what does that look like? And you're speaking to them about how you solve that problem that they have. So that is what we're talking about. Don't lead with all the tiny details of your offer. I had a client, she was doing a launch, and this made a huge difference in her launch. She ended up getting full. This was a test launch. She made like 8K more after we changed this in her email sequence. But basically her email was like outlining all the things they were getting in this container. And I was just like, I love you, but I don't even want to read this. So your potential client doesn't want to. Like, what is in it for them? Like, catch them with that first bit of the email. Like, this is what's in it for you. This is the results you can expect. I know that this is possible. Like, paint the picture for them, because we're busy. We don't have time. Like, okay, so what if you give me XYZ, but how is that getting me what I want? So really connect the dots for them. Again, if you need support with this, I have an intensive in December, and this is just such a great thing. I love doing an intensives, is really getting clear on messaging. Every business, every stage needs to tweak their messaging. I know a lot of people who have recently had things that worked for a long time, and now it's not working. So we're kind of going back and like, interesting. We're thinking that business is a game and we know how to play it. So like, what's the game? How did the game change? Like, how are we tweaking it? So that is what I really invite you to do. That is what is going to speak to those people that are the small amount in your audience, to help them see you as the person that's getting them what they want. So I've got some examples. These are literally from clients and calls that I've had. So if you have a dog training program, do not tell them what every single meeting will be about, or the length, or the products that you recommend. Like, speak to what the clients want at the end of their sessions. So what are they looking for? What does it look like for their family? What does it look like for when people come over and their dog isn't jumping all over the place? What does it look like when they're cooking dinner and the dog can go in their place, or they're eating dinner and the dog's not underneath the table? Like, connect all the dots for them there, and that is going to sell so much better than being like, well, you get a weekly session with me for 6 weeks, and that's for an hour, and then I give you a written write-up of it afterwards. Like, no, our brains are simple. We do not need all of that. We need to know what's in it for us. What does that result look like? Another one, a teeth whitening service. So don't lead with the exact extracts in the teeth whitening, or facial products. Like, if you do facials, like, you're not leading with like, it's organic, all natural, all this. Like, really give them the result. Like, okay, your teeth look this much whiter in this many sessions, or, this many green peel facials, helps shed this amount of skin off of your face and you'll look this many years younger. Like, obviously we need it to be true, but that's when you're good at what you do. You have results. So have those results in your back pocket that you're constantly saving in a place, saving in notes, like I love to share client case studies. Like, it is so helpful for someone to see literally what you do and what the transformation is for someone else. Like, we are nosy. We love watching like the reality shows of whatever, there's a reality show about everything. We love seeing the behind the scenes. We love a transformation. So be sure you are documenting those in your business so that you can speak to the results with like integrity and truth. So like my case studies, I just wrote one the other day and I sent it to the client to review just to make sure, like, hey, do I have this revenue number? Because this looks pretty damn good, but I want to make sure it's right. So really capture that stuff in your business with your clients, because you can use that when you're doing this marketing. It is true. It is legit. Like, any numbers that I share, those are legit numbers. I have double and triple checked them and make sure they're correct. And so I feel really good sharing those results. For my coaches out there, this is kind of just what I was talking about with me. Like, I'm not leading with like the number of sessions I have per month and that you get unlimited support in between. Like, I don't lead with all of that. I'm speaking to the results that they want. I'm speaking to the fact that like you can make 10K a month and not work full time. Like, I have 3 kids. It's possible for me. I pivoted from bookkeeping where I charged $35 an hour to now I have 20K recurring revenue months. Like, that pivot is possible for you. If I did it, I know you can do it. So if you're thinking about maybe you help someone get into nursing school, like, you're not just talking about like, hey, I'll review your application, I'll review your, nursing volunteer stuff. Like, you're not leading with that. You're leading with like, hey, I know what it takes to get into nursing school and I'm going to help you get there. I'm going to cut through all the noise. I'm going to help you stop all the Googling. Like, speak to that transformation and the result that they want, because that's going to make a huge difference. And then I've got one more example. So if you're a wedding planner, you're not speaking to, okay, you get, this many hours, we're going to help you do, vendor meetings, and we're going to take care of this. Like, it will look like this. Really speak to like, hey, we want you to feel really relaxed the day of your wedding. We want you to enjoy everything. We want you to be with friends and family and not have to think about paying vendors or, making sure that the bathrooms have toilet paper or whatever else result. I remember hiring a wedding planner, so I'm trying to give examples of that, but really just thinking about how the bride wants to feel on her wedding day and not have to look back and be like, dang, I really wish I would have enjoyed my dance with my dad more, but I was trying to figure out how to coordinate something with the food people. Like, literally just paint the picture of like feedback that you've gotten from clients that you can share, or if you haven't really gotten the client results yet, like, that this is still something that you can take off someone's plate or help them with. Like, make sure you're speaking to that in your content, because that is huge. So we've got a journaling prompt around this in the playbook, so make sure you have that, because that is it's super important to speak to the transformation and not just the details. So that's it for the strategy piece. We'll kind of go through those 4 pieces real quick. So the 4 pieces of the strategy, which is literally kind of like the meat and potatoes of this conversation, because I love mindset, but like literally you need strategy to go with it. So the strategy pieces of booking clients, with a small audience to make 10K or more a month is focusing on one core offer, going all in there, and going all in there for like months and enough time to build momentum so that it's booking and working like a well-oiled machine. The second strategy piece is to be consistent. Whatever consistency looks like for you, pick it and stick it. Obviously, you can tweak along the way. I love to use data on the back end, but picking your consistency schedule so that people know you show up when you say you do and you always provide amazing value. Like, I show up here weekly. I do a masterclass every other month. Like, you can look back 1 year, 2 years worth of live streams pinned at the top of this group. Like, tons of shit is out there for you to just go binge. So have that for your potential clients, whether they find you online or whether someone refers them to you. They're going to look you up. Like, they're going to look up your social, they're going to look up your website. And honestly, I go to people's social before I go to their website because I know it's probably more up to date. Excuse me. So make sure that you've got something there, and people can go just binge it and be like, oh yeah, this is the girl that I need. Yeah, she totally gets me. So just have all that consistency there. Even if you're starting new, it takes time, but like it builds up faster than you think. So if you're like, I'm brand new, how am I going to get a year's worth of stuff to binge for people? Like, it just builds momentum. It's this snowball effect, and you just create this pop moment. Like, I used to always hear about the pop moments, and I was just like, cool, must be nice, but like that's literally how it happens. Like, you keep doing the same thing over and over, being consistent, going all in on one thing, talking about it, how it helps people. Like, this is literally the eye roll thing that everybody's like, it just feels so easy and it just works. Like, it, use me as evidence. Like, I will tell you, I will shout it from the rooftops. I used to roll my eyes at this, but like, this is literally it. It's not like, go start a Pinterest strategy, go get on TikTok. It's just see what works for you and keep doing it, and do it over and over and over. And it just literally, it's that snowball rolling down a hill, and you'll just be so full with clients, you won't even know what to do with yourself. So use that as evidence. So number 3, speak your mind. That is speaking to what you stand for, your thought leadership, maybe what you don't like in the industry, what you stand for. Like, really be someone who is willing to say the thing, even if you're like, oh, some people might not like this. Like, I know I talk about my results a lot and share my results, and there are people out there, they may not like it, and that's totally fine. Like, I'm not doing it to like trigger anyone or make anyone feel bad. I'm doing it to show people what's possible. But if it makes them uncomfortable or it does trigger them, like, that's them, that's their own journey. Like, it's not for me to be like, oh, I shouldn't talk about numbers and how much I work because I don't want Sally from high school to think whatever about me. Like, that is not this. Like, speak your mind, show who you are, show your thought leadership, because that is what attracts people and magnetizes them to you. And number 4, speak to the results. Don't just give the details, give the transformation, give what's possible. Speak to your framework and how you do things, because that is what's going to help connect the dots for people so that they know that they want to hire you. So let me know. I know y'all are quiet. Let me know if you have any other questions. Now we're going to go into the organized piece, because again, I'm very like, no fluff, like, this is legit how you do this. So the organized piece is very important to me. So again, this is where you take the mindset that business is a game and I know how to play it. This is when you're setting up the back end of your business to really set yourself up for success. Like, this gets to be a well-oiled machine. You take everything we did in the strategy section and have it as a plan, woven into your marketing, woven into your messaging. Then you're going to want to look at your data. So for all of my one-to-one clients, I build traffic dashboards. I am like the only coach that does that. People typically charge like $1,000 to $2,000 just for that. To me, I just do it as a bonus because it's so freaking important to me that we have this information at our fingertips. So this is what I'm talking about, looking at your data. Like, you'll see what's working and do more of that. Client example, we have worked together for years, my one-to-one clients, and they have kind of like, fluctuations through the year, but they had a month that was like really low, super unexpected. We don't know what happened. So we're looking at the back end of the marketing and kind of like stepping back to like, kind of look at the whole picture and regroup. And she's like, okay, let's get the VA. We're going to pay her more. She can do some reels, and, we're going to boost some posts. And I pulled up the traffic dashboard, and I'm like, you literally have 5 times the amount of traffic from Facebook than you do from Instagram. You've done nothing with Facebook. Like, I think it flows through when they post to Instagram. It just by default flows to Facebook. Like, why don't we go all in on Facebook? So it's like, we're literally using like where the traffic is coming from so that we know what to do. Like emails. Okay, which emails are people clicking on? Which ones are they booking calls from? I literally have a content that converts sheet where I take like, okay, something in a Facebook group or any post on Instagram or emails, like if someone took an action from that, I'm copying it and pasting it into this document so that I have a batch of stuff that I can be like, oh, cool, people really like when I talk about this. Or when I said it like this, they took action and booked calls. Like, it's just so helpful to just know what's working and be able to do more than that. And this is one of those things, like, I have 3 daughters, and one of them isn't doing great in math, but like, she's doing great in science. And as a parent and with the teachers, everyone wants to focus on the math, and I totally get, like, I mean, I love some math, so we cannot ignore that. Like, we definitely do need to like prioritize that. With my other daughter, like, we need to prioritize reading because it's kind of lower on the end there. But like, there are areas that they're really doing great in, and it's like, yes, we need to do those things just because they're in school and this is what they need to do. Like, they need to be able to read and do math, like, I get it. But like, we're so focused on the thing that's wrong, we forget about the thing that people naturally do well. And in our businesses, we kind of keep that mentality of like, well, Instagram over here isn't working. It's just not getting me what I want. So I need to put more money and more time into it, instead of just being like, well, if my last 5 clients didn't come from Instagram, they came from Facebook groups. Like, it just makes sense to go more in on Facebook. So this is what I'm really inviting you to look at, is to see like what's working, not trying to fix what's not. So that's like the back end piece that is just so important to me. I get really jazzed up about this, so I won't go off on like 50 tangents here, but really just looking and see like, okay, when you post a link, whether it's in stories, like, are people clicking it? When you're sending emails, are people opening it? Are they clicking it? When you have an opt-in, so maybe you have a free ebook or you have a freebie you're giving away, how many people are going to the landing page? How many of those people are converting? Sometimes it's literally like, okay, you've had like 10 people to your landing page and 6 people booked. So like, that's 6 people. Like, it's a great conversion number. But we know we just need more eyes on it. So we would rather have 100 people with like a really great conversion rate. Or maybe you did have 100 people, like you got a ton of traffic, you were on, a podcast and you promoted it, and we can see a ton of traffic came from that podcast, but like barely anyone took the next step. That's when we know, okay, let's look at the landing page. Like, what's going on with that? Why aren't people taking the next step? Like, it just makes things so much easier. It is literally a game that you know how to play. And that's the support I give my clients. It's like, we don't need to run in like 50 different directions. Like, we literally know what to do because we're looking at the back end and like, we see what's going on. Look at your Instagram insights. Like, are people going to your profile from it? Are they sharing it? Are they, what else can people do? Save it. Like, I'd rather have someone do any of those things than like post a like or follow me any day. And I know this is something that like VAs have told me in the past, is like, yeah, when you post these type of posts, like more personal, it definitely gets more reach and more likes. And I'm like, yeah, but I know this post that didn't get as much reach, that booked a client. Like, that's what got someone to hop over the fence, even though it doesn't look as sexy or, doesn't get as much reach, but like, that's what booked a client, and that's what I'm concerned about. So really, again, like, sell your face off with like one main offer or action. And even if it's like a free or low ticket thing, but have this working for you like a well-oiled machine. It's kind of like, and this is something I do with people on intensive, is like, we're looking at the sales process and we want to nail every piece of the sales process. So really setting yourself up that like every piece of the journey, like, you get it working like a well-oiled machine. So it's like, okay, cool. Like, I had a ton of people download the freebie. Now the next step looks like this. So let's work on getting that next piece working really well. And that's where like the magic comes from. And that might take weeks or months, but like, if it takes 3, 6, 9 months to have a sales process that books clients on repeat, like, that is the shit. That is what works. It's not like, hey, let me buy this new course, or hey, let me do this new thing. Let me, buy this thing. Like, let me just throw spaghetti at the wall and keep wasting time and money. It's like, I know it works and I keep doing it. So like, that's what I invite you to do. There's a journal prompt around this in the playbook. So be sure that you get really clear on what you're looking at. I don't exactly remember what the journal prompt is, but it'll be around the back end and using your data. So now we're getting on our time here. Let me hustle on through. So that's the organization piece. Using your business. The data's there. Your business is telling you what you need. So go freaking listen. That is my call to you. So the implement piece, that is the last piece of my framework here. So really, we are talking about being a curious observer in your business. Like, think of it as like, this is a hose and we're finding the kink in the hose. I love to have a process on lockdown, and we're constantly testing and tweaking these. Like, I have a couple clients this year who had just gangbusters years in the past. Like, they described it as like drinking from a fire hose, and this year things changed. Some of them, one lost a few really big clients. Another, I just mentioned earlier, had more competition crop up. So all these things. So now we're just like, okay, like this is a game. The rules kind of changed or the pieces kind of changed, but we're going to roll with it and figure out what works now. I had a call with someone who had a post that would get them like a bunch of calls every time she posted it, and then that just stopped. So we took a look at it together and we're figuring out like, okay, let's rearrange the post. Let's kind of speak to what's in it for someone, connecting to that, to them, grabbing their attention with that right off the bat. And that just like flipped the switch. That like made the difference. And it's like, okay, these posts work again. Like she booked 17 calls off of one. Like this is the stuff that it's like, we're picking and sticking something, but we're always refining it because things are always changing. Like the algorithm's changing, you know, AI came out. So it's like super important that like our posts sound like a real human wrote it and that like someone is on the other side of it. You know, I just know that we're always looking to solve the right problem and close the right gap. Like my clients, I have such a different viewpoint than them. You know, I'm a neutral third party. So it's just super helpful for me to point out something to them or, you know, give them another way of thinking. And they're always like, dang, why didn't I think of that? And it's like, this is why coaching is just so valuable, to have that person with you to help you be the curious observer, especially if you're like, oh shit, like this isn't working anymore. This isn't booking clients like it was. Like we get really jazzed up and it's just like amazing to have someone there that's just like, yeah, I hear you. That's frustrating. I got you. Let's get to neutral. And then let's look at this from another angle, because you being all, you know, jacked up and in scarcity and like nervous or feeling like you did something wrong, like that is not where you book clients from. So let's like ideate on this together. Hi, Annis. Thanks for joining. We're just wrapping up. I was finishing up with the implementation piece, but basically we're talking about being the curious observer in your business. This was the last piece, going deep and seeing where the problem is, really not thinking of it as like a problem, but just an opportunity. Like nothing ever stays the same. That's true in business. Like maybe you have to tweak your messaging. Maybe you switch up your offer a little bit, or like, you know, take a different like lens or viewpoint from it. So really we're just like treating business like a game and seeing like, okay, what does our business need from us now? What is the right gap to close now? Because it's always going to look a little bit different depending on where we are, how the market's doing, you know, what's going on. Like there's just so many variables. So that's what we want to really problem solve with and solve the right problem. So we're going to wrap it up. So we covered the mindset, we covered 4 strategy pieces, we covered the organization piece and the implement piece. So keep coming back to the playbook. There are 4 bonus pieces that I didn't get to right now because in the event of time, I just need to hop off for a call. But if you have the playbook, those are in there. So be sure you look at those too. Because really, like, this is just what business is. It is a game and we know how to play it. So if you're feeling like you don't know how to play the game of business, or you don't know what that next step is to go all in on and like really market and sell your face off for, or your messaging used to work and now it doesn't, or you feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, or you tried this platform and that platform and that platform, like if you're just feeling like business is a game and you don't know how to play it, book a free call. I'll put the link below. I have an intensive opening up in December. So the free call is just the best next step before that intensive to see if it would be right to work together so I could support you more on a one-to-one longer basis with a week of support. So I will drop the link for that below. And we do have a special offer. It's $150 off any coaching services booked by December 19th. So that is like less than a month away. We could have an intensive in January. So you just need to book it by the 19th to be able to take advantage of that. But it's just a great way to start off your year if you're interested in some one-to-one support and really making sure that 2024 is like strong with your messaging. You know what you're selling, you know what you're going all in on. So I will drop the link for the free call. That's just the best next step. I love supporting people on that. And we have super limited spots since it's the end of the year. There are not many left. There might be like 5 total. So be sure to grab yours if you're interested. So I can't wait to support you on one of those. And again, thank you so much for being here. Next week is the week of Thanksgiving, so we will have a replay, but it's a very popular replay. I picked one of the ones that had, you know, a ton of views and replays. So you'll still have a good one next week, but it won't be live. So enjoy your Thanksgiving. Have a great week. I'll see you later.